Now, Kung Fu, as beautiful a game as it is, it does yield the opportunity for a lot of growth if you are willing to take the opportunity when it presents itself. And depending on, well, many things, you are susceptible to becoming 9-0'd. Now, this is your guide to recovering from a 9-0 in a way that is healthy and productive and conducive to future success. The first thing is simply acknowledging how you feel. Kung Fu and gaming in general, it can stir up a lot of negative emotions. Disappointment mainly, anger, which can lead to blame, which can lead to you losing your friends. So it's probably best you get that under control. So, in my instance, I was recently 9-0'd, and the first reaction I had was indifference, simply because, well, it was in a contained setting with people I'm very familiar with, and, well, I've been playing the game a long time, so nothing's really all that surprising anymore. I would not say that disappointment was not present. Of course, it was present. I wanted to do as best as I could, and having that result, well, it's not a good result. So the issue lied when the one who 9-0'd me did what Kung Fu is renowned for: the public humiliation ritual, the dance of egos, the clash of I'm better, no, I'm better, no, he's better than you, and we've seen it many times. So the screenshot was posted in the server, and at that point, my headspace kind of flitted back to the old days where I was seen as the guy to be taken down. So every opportunity, every slip up was put under the spotlight of a public chat or just brought up in conversation. It's natural. It's the way the Kung Fu cookie crumbles. So, yeah, it hasn't happened in a while. So I felt things such as embarrassment, disappointment again, and perhaps even a bit of, I don't want to say anger, so I'm going to go with rage, because rage is kind of like an induction heating of the chest, whereas anger, it's like a really red hot spark that can fly out and hit grandma off of a tricycle, cause an accident. So not really anger, just rage. That led to me thinking, wow, why do I even care? I don't really, but I do. So I'm just lying to myself. I do care. And of course I care. I put a lot into this game, and, well, yeah, it's completely human, if I'm being honest. So, if I could just collect my thoughts for a second. Yes, process the emotion. Process what you feel. Don't just deny it, because that can just lead to more issues down the line, which we won't go into. You can do your research. But suppressing what you feel is never a good idea. You're just lying to yourself. So acknowledge what you feel and then reframe it. That's the essence of what I'm getting at, minus all the context and the waffle. It's reframing it as, hold on, I've lost. I'm not perfect, despite what maybe my ego would be telling me, is that, well, everybody has an ego, that they think that they're perfect and flawless. No, of course not. So, adopting a growth mindset is the key here. And a growth mindset is a phrase that's thrown around a lot, but I'll just quickly deconstruct the ideas behind it. It is to see failure not as a personal failure, but rather as a external failure of the system which you've employed to get that result. So the system I employed to get this result was playing Lucian, for example, was playing whilst late at night, playing with maybe the wrong technique against that set of players at that time. It's not a personal failure. It's not tied to self-worth, which is what the ego tells you. Because when the ego wins, they tie everything. Yes, that's me. We're the greatest. We're the best. No one can beat us. And we're better than the person we just beat, when that's not really true at all. So, reframe it as learning. That's a growth mindset. And avoid blaming yourself and blaming others, because it's not really going to get you anywhere, not anytime fast. You're just going to get an annoyed teammate and an argument. And when you're blaming yourself, you're simply just going to have an argument with yourself. Why are you blaming me? No, I'm not blaming you. Yeah, but like an internal, yeah. You're human, you know what I'm talking about. So, acknowledge the pain, reframe it as a learning experience, depersonalize it. Don't attach your self-worth to winning, and don't attach it to losing. Don't make your identity, especially those younger comfort players who maybe are not as well established in other areas of living, because, well, all they have is school, and don't start winning, and then it's a very easy trap that comfort players, newer ones, fall into, is they beat a few players, they start climbing and collecting names in 1v1s and start saying, yeah, I'm better than this, I'm better. Like they say, I am better, which means that they're tying this comfort ego to their very identity. It's a dangerous game you're playing, very dangerous. So, back to the 9-0ing. Depersonalize it. It's not you winning, it's not you losing. You're just playing a game. And then replace any self-doubt with kindness. Sure, I lost, but I didn't start bullying myself and saying, wow, you're trash, you're garbage. I'm not going to pile onto a narrative which is not going to help. You say, links back to the growth mindset. You lost, maybe don't do that again. Kind of like treating yourself as like a younger brother if you were a good older sibling. I'm not talking about you devils who be terrorizing your little siblings. I mean, treat them as, hey, it's okay, you'll get them next time. And it's very easy, once again, if you've just been publicly humiliated, to just wallow in it and just think, oh, everybody's thinking this now and my reputation's ruined. It doesn't really matter what people say. It matters what you say. If you are happy with where you are, then that is okay. If whether you've reached the top of the comfort leaderboard or not, I know a lot of players who simply have, like Master, like Greg. These guys are great examples. They are content with where they are, and they're happy when they win. And when they lose, they say, yeah, I'm trash. But they don't wallow in it and start blaming and, going down a spiral. So those are the kind of players to look out for. If they were one to put the energy and the time in to become great, it's very, very possible because they have a good mindset in that regard. I'm not talking about overall, because once again, Kung Fu, they like to prove people wrong, and it's just a whole a whole load of that stuff. So let's not get into that. Well, don't wallow. The next one is to adapt. You can lose and lose and lose, but if you never look back and actually look at what went wrong and ask for advice from people who know better, or simply have a different perspective, you just go around in circles. It's the definition of insanity. The definition is to do the same thing, expect a different outcome. So, you're losing, you're blaming yourself, you're bullying yourself, and you're attaching your identity to the loss. And outside of Kung Fu, you're telling yourself that you're a loser. And because you've approached something new like Kung Fu and you've lost a bunch, you're going to have that same mentality towards the things that you pursue in life. Does that sound like a good deal? To me, it doesn't. And for that reason, I'm out. And finally, what you want to do is, if you're still feeling bad, I got over my 9-0 nightmare within about like 30 minutes, I'd say, through re-evaluating what it even means to win or lose. Some can say this is advanced coping mechanisms, but they're not wrong, because truly you have to cope. Think about it. If you didn't cope, that's not healthy. that's like those people who just drink like alcoholics because they can't cope. So I wouldn't even see coping as a bad thing. I'm not even sure if Kung Fu's even mature enough to have this kind of discourse, but yeah, sometimes you gotta try. Sometimes you gotta move things forward. You gotta push the wagon, get the momentum moving in a way that you wanna see things go. So hey, yeah. So seek an outside perspective. If you're still feeling bad, talk to your friends about it. Someone who's not stupid. No, someone who's not stupider than you. You know, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Just talk to someone. Be like, I feel a bit crap. They'll be like, it's not that deep, bruv. You're just moving emotional for what reason? But if you've gone through the steps, when you've got to this point, you are more or less halfway over the fence anyways. So all you need is a push in the right direction, and you'll fall back onto the other side of just having a nice, calm ocean oasis of a mental state, not being harassed by images of being publicly 9-0'd. I'm not going to offer a conclusion. If you've been listening this long, chances are you are distortion, or you are actually taking in something that I'm saying. So that's how to recover. That's how to cope. That's how to get 9-0'd. Thank you for listening, and like and subscribe. Peace.